If the unseen feels more at home to you than the seen, then this space is for you. Here on Illuminate Your Truth, the spirit world is valid. I'm your host, Elena Isis. Let's dive on in. Hello and welcome to Illuminate Your Truth. I am your host, Elena Isis, and it is such a pleasure to be here today. Now, today is May 2nd, and I just found out that it is National Day of Prayer Day. And so I wrote a quick little prayer to the water spirit. It's up on my Instagram and my Facebook page. So go ahead and check that out. I absolutely love prayer. I've really been diving into it these past, I'd say, 2 years or so. I've really incorporated a lot of prayer into my life. We're actually going to be talking a little bit about prayer in today's episode. I really want to focus on your home, or like your space where you reside, like your, wherever you lay your head down. Like, I really want to dive into that today and just focus on some ways that we can make our space, our sacred space, even more sacred, and some ways that we can make our sacred space safe. And we're not talking about on a physical level, we're talking about on more, we're talking about on a spiritual level, but that also protects you in the physical world as well. So hey, I guess we're talking about both. But yeah, we're going to talk about how you can protect yourself in your home and make your home feel light and carefree and safe, and just a space where you feel like you are able to relax, let your guard down a little bit, and just feel really good and comfortable in. And I think as a spiritual worker, like a healer, energy healer, and all of those things, like if you are working with energy, if you work with spirits, this is definitely something that you want to keep in mind. Like, you want to keep your space clean and cleansed as much as possible. For your sanity, for spiritual hygiene. It's just going to benefit you in a lot of different ways. All right, so for the first kind of tip for this, I'm going to be talking about prayer. And I want to talk about saying your prayers out loud or to yourself around your home. This is really important because you are sending that energy into your space. When I became a mom, I really started incorporating different types of prayer and mantras in my life, because whenever you have children, you're doing a lot of things. And time, it's really hard sometimes to sit down and do a ritual. And so what I started doing was incorporating more prayer into my life, intentionally talking to my spirit guides, intentionally saying specific prayers for healing or protection in my home. And so what you can do is I really like to pick a spirit guide that I resonate with for whatever it is that I need. So let's say I want to protect my home. So for protection, I would usually call on Archangel Michael or the Arcturians for that. And so, I would just ask them to step forward and really be clear on what type of protection that I would need in the home. And I will just walk around my home in all the rooms, just saying this prayer: Archangel Michael, please help protect my family. Please secure this space from corner to corner. Sometimes I go into really intense detail just because I really want that protective energy. And I will say this prayer over and over again throughout my home. When I'm working with the Arcturians, they really love protection and shielding. So a lot of times they'll send through a certain light code for me to either me send through the house, or usually they just kind of set it up for me. And I really like working with the Arcturians as far as protecting my home. So I'll say prayers to them. To Jesus, maybe I need to open my heart more, or I would like the house to have more of a loving energy. I'll call in Archangel Michael. Not Archangel Michael, Jesus. He's excellent for that. And so whatever energy you're trying to bring, say prayers around that. And it could be even prayers like of gratitude, thanking, being grateful for the food that you have in your home, being grateful that you have plants around you, being grateful that you have water, just prayers. And you can say these out loud, say these to yourselves, but just like make sure that you're intentionally just connecting with parts of your home and energy that you want to bring into your home. I'll walk around with my tuning forks and I'll just kind of ring them in each room, just kind of clearing any energy, negative energy that might be there, and just kind of raising the vibration. Because what we really want to do is we really want to raise the vibration of the space that you're in. And so by saying these prayers, that is raising the vibration. If you're saying really healing prayers and, call on those spirit guides, angels, ancestors that are going to help assist you. I never do any of this work alone. Like I of course I look like I'm alone when I'm doing it, on a physical level, but really I'm like surrounded by a bunch of guides and I'm asking them to do a lot of the things and they happily do them for you. So, say your prayers, call on whoever it is you need to call on for that specific thing. Google is excellent. I mean, any kind of deity, spirit guide, any kind of like ascended master you can imagine is on the internet, and a lot of times there's lots of really good descriptions about them, and that can also be really helpful in your figuring out what guide is going to be best for this. Sometimes the spirit guide will just come through for you and you'll be like, I don't know who you are, and then you look it up and it's everything that you needed. It works both ways sometimes. Sometimes we have to search ourselves, and sometimes they kind of just present themselves and we have to be open enough to see them. And yeah, it just takes that kind of presence, and they'll come different ways, but find out who you want to work with or be open to who wants to work with you. And allow them to help you. Allow them to help you clear your home. Allow them to help raise the energy, raise the vibration of your space, which is so important for us to just have clarity, and honestly to just fill us up, to have a nice space that we can actually refill ourselves up whenever we come back from the busy world of humans and just lots of chaos sometimes. So another tip, one of the most important things is, in my opinion, is smudging and cleansing and blessing your home. I feel like this is something that should happen regularly. I really like to do this quite often. I mean, honestly, it should probably be once a week, especially if you are thrifting a lot, buying things bringing things into your home that shopping, like bringing things in your home that have been other places. If you like antiques, anything like that, like you really want to make sure that you cleanse that stuff before you bring it in. Sometimes it's hard with clothes because sometimes, you totally do forget, but it's really, really important to, anytime you bring something new into your house, just make sure that you are smudging it, saying prayers over it, and just cleansing it, washing it, making sure that it is, cleansed and ready to go. So not only are we smudging items that are brought into the home, you also want to smudge your house, or wherever you reside, your home, your apartment, wherever. And you can smudge with different things. I really so let's just go down the line here because there's a few. White sage is your most common one. That is your, you can smudge with white sage. Is excellent for getting rid of negative energy. And you can also use Palo Santo. Palo Santo is really good for clearing negative energy, but I like it more so for like bringing in positive energy. So like after I would smudge with sage, I would usually go over it with Palo Santo to fill in that space that was just like cleansed. We want to fill it up with some good positive energy. So that's how I would use a Palo Santo. And for like really negative energy, like in heavier spirits that are not going to just like go away because of the sage, some spirits actually pisses them off and they will legit get mad at you. I've had that. Yeah, I've had spirits like attack me in my sleep, like in my dreams, and just to be like, yeah, you burnt that sage, like F you, basically. And then for instances like that, then you would pull out the big guns, which for me, the big guns are Dragon's Blood. Yeah, Dragon's Blood resin. It does it. It's pretty amazing. You burn it on charcoal, and it's really good for getting rid of really like darker, heavier spirits and entities, energy. And yeah, so you would burn that and walk through your home wherever and you reside. And there's lots of other resins too. Frankincense is like my second favorite to Dragon's Blood. Frankincense resin is amazing. So this would be just like the Palo Santo. Like this would be more uplifting. So this would be like filling in the space with positive energy. Frankincense resin, amazing. It's very uplifting, very positive, very healing. And this is great to burn after you either smudge with white sage or Dragon's Blood resin. Just good to fill in the atmosphere. Myrrh is really good too. Myrrh is quite pungent. Just to let you know, if you are going to be burning just myrrh, I really like to mix frankincense and myrrh, because then it gives, like, the frankincense is really sweet, and so frankincense and myrrh together is just a really nice, pleasant smell. Myrrh is more of like a cleanser, so it's going to get rid of negative energy, just like the sage and Dragon's Blood would. So you could burn that separately. You could burn it together with the frankincense, whatever you need to do. They're both going to be burned on charcoal, just like the Dragon's Blood, because they are resins and they need to get really, really hot. They need to be on a really, really hot surface, and then they get all bubbly, and then they melt, and then they smoke, and it's just beautiful, 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 smoke. And it's just homes just love it. It's very healing, and it gets into every little crevice, and so just I really like to, so whenever I'm cleansing my space or my home, let me give you some of my my methods. Okay, so whenever I'm cleansing, I start in the basement. You always want to start at your lowest level, and I make sure that I open a window or a door on each level. I really like to have just a door open or window open on each level, just to make sure that the smoke is leaving, the energy is leaving, has room to leave, has a space to leave. And so I do that, and then I start smudging. So like I would start with sage first, and then I would go through the basement with the sage. Now, whenever you're going room to room, but when you're going room to room, you're not just like walking in and walking out. No, you are going around the room and you're hitting the corners. I cannot state to you how important it is that you are smudging the crap out of the corners of your home, like all the corners in every room, because that is where spirits hide. It's a nice little area for them to kind of stay and just kind of hang out. So you want to be smudging the corners. You're going to start at the top corner, work your way down the corner, down to the ground, and, while you're doing this, if you feel something weird, stay there a little bit longer, let the smoke hit it a little bit longer, say some prayers. Whenever you're doing a cleansing of your home, I would say prayers, just like we just talked about, like how you would say prayers in the home for protection. I say prayers the whole time I'm cleansing my home. I'll be working with Michael or Jesus, and I'll just be saying prayers to them. Please help cleanse please help cleanse my home of any negative energy, as however you see fit. If there are any spirits here, please help to cross them over and then send them into the light. And at some point in your home, you're probably going to find a couple spots that feel weird, and you're probably going to just hang out there a little bit longer and just kind of feed that smoke, say your prayers a little bit longer. And I would suggest waiting until the energy shifts for you. So standing there and cleansing until that energy has shifted and it feels okay and it feels light. You may have to bust out, some singing bowls, maybe do some kind of frequency healing there, like whatever you have to do, try until that energy shifts. You could just send some Reiki into that spot. Whatever you have to do to raise the vibration, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to raise the vibration of our space, of our home. And so do whatever that means for you, and whatever tools you have at home. You could ring a bell. Ringing bells really just helps break up and shift energy. But really focus on the corners. Work your way up from the bottom to the top. All right, you're going to do this clearing the house, smudging from corner to corner, from room to room. Get those closets. And anything in the room that you feel called to smudge as well, feel free to do that. And just, have the intention of healing and cleansing. You're saying your prayers, working with those spirit guides that are helping you, and just calling in those guides to maybe help transmute. And while you're clearing, depending on how sensitive you are to energy in the spirit world, sometimes you might find a couple of lingering ghosts, lingering spirits. They may be hiding in their resident spots that they like to hide, and you might run into them. Now, it's up to you to decide if you want to attempt to cross that spirit over. If you don't mind them in your home, that's fine. They can stay. But if you would like to attempt to cross them over, feel free. I like working with Jesus. Call Jesus to step forward and to just help facilitate that psychopomp session, and he will gladly assist in crossing that person over. Sometimes you'll run into spirits. Sometimes they've been there a long time. Sometimes they're just passing through. They just need a little bit of assistance. And so, whenever you do this, you'll learn about your home and you'll learn if you have portals in your house. Some houses have literal portals in them, where you'll realize that there are spirits there all the time, and they're not the same ones. Sometimes they'll be different ones. And it's you just have to learn about your house. You have to learn about your house and what's in your home on a spiritual level, and just do these assessments, these cleansings, and really just kind of try to have a clear space, but also know, what's inevitably going to be around you sometimes, which are spirits. But we're always trying to uplift our home. We're always trying to raise the vibration of it. So any kind of negative energy and negative spirits that we run into, we got to clear them. And if we can't clear them on our own, we need to just call in our spirit guides and allow them to help us clear these negative energies, entities, spirits out that are, sucking our energy probably, and bringing our space, the energy in our space down, which is completely unacceptable. We don't do that here. So smudging and cleansing your home, blessing it, very important. I say do it once a week or as often as you can. Definitely do it more often if, like I said, you thrift, you like to get antiques, I love all that stuff. But let's be honest, they do have energy to them. And if they were in other places, they have other people's energy. So we really just want to make sure that we protect ourselves in that way and cleansing those items. All right. Okay. So now we're going to move on to the outside of our home. What do we do with that? Because sometimes we have neighbors that are kind of mean and don't really like us. Or maybe this is just people in general. Maybe we just have people that don't like us or whatever. Let's protect our land. Let's protect the outside of our home. Smudge your land. Same deal with the corner to corner stuff, on your land, for sure. Do a property sweep and run that sage, run that dragon's blood. Your neighbors might think you're crazy, but oh well, who cares? This is important. And so always be cleansing your space, your land as well if you can. Evil eyes, though I really love them, they're really good for protecting against the evil eye, which is people who are maybe envious of you, wish bad upon you. And so I really like to kind of repel that, and just kind of, the evil eye is great for like sending that negative energy out, sending it back to them. Actually, I feel just kind of sends it back, and reflects in a way. And so I like to put those on the outside of my home. You can put them in your doorways, hanging on. Sometimes you can find them in on chimes, or something like that. But I wonder if there's a flag. That would be even really cool to have an evil eye flag. I was thinking that this morning. I was I wonder if they make those. I might have to do that. But anyway, to kind of repel from the evil eye, I really like to use as another form of protection. All right, so just the main takeaway from this, I feel, is to get to know your home and get to know it on a regular basis, because the energy shifts in your home pretty often. And if you have a very active home, then you might want to start clearing more often, and clearing items, and just being really open-minded to the things that, or being more mindful, I should say, of what you're bringing into your home, and just making sure that you are taking proper precautions at cleansing it, cleaning it, and getting off that energy that the past owner may have put into it, or the building that it was in is put the energy of that put into it. So just being more mindful of that, and just get to know your home. Get to know your home, get to know where you're finding more spirits, get to know where you're finding more negative energy, and just go into that and see what you find. See what you read from that energy. Make it a little project. It could be really fun. Like I said, some homes have portals, and when you find the portal, wow, what a fun thing to experiment on, and get to learn how to understand, and learning how to understand it. And it's just, and this life is a crazy life, and but it just gets more and more fun. So I feel like we all should feel safe in our space, and our sacred space, and these are just a couple of ways that have helped me in my space, and I really hope that these tips helped you. And thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so grateful for you for that, and I hope you all just have a wonderful, wonderful day. All right, bye for now. Be sure to subscribe to my show, Illuminate Your Truth. And if you would like to rate my show or leave me a review, feel free to do so. I really appreciate all these things. They just help me on this journey of growth and self-discovery. Grateful for every single one of you for tuning in. And I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day. All right, bye for now.